Hi soulmates, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be teaching you how you can take an accurate body measurement. If this is your first time coming across my video, this is a drafting channel where you draft patterns already if you know how to sew and all sorts. But if you are a beginner and you don't even know anything about tailoring or fashion designing, and you don't even know how to take measurements, then this video is for you, because I'm going to be taking you in depth on how to take the accurate measurements and what what it means and every other thing. So let's just get right into it. So for you to take an accurate body measurement, you need to make sure your client is putting on a brassiere, so that you would actually get the measurement for the bust area and all sorts. And for the body, make sure your client is wearing something fitted, not something big, so you can get the correct measurements. So the first thing we'll be measuring is the shoulder. This is the shoulder. So from this shoulder we have shoulder points. If you check, this is a mannequin for illustration, but if you check your shoulder at a point here, you will see like a point on your shoulder. Yoruba calls it koko. There is a koko there, there is a shoulder there is a koko there. So from that koko to the next koko is how you take your measurement, your shoulder measurement. So the first measurement you will be taking is your shoulder measurement. Make sure you get your pen and paper. So the first measurement you will be measuring is your shoulder. So that shoulder you will be measuring from one point to another point, just like so. You're going to place it at the back like this. This is how you measure your shoulder. So whatever you get from the client's body, so for this mannequin now, the shoulder is 14 inches. So after measuring the shoulder, you now move on to measure the back, the bust rather, sorry. So from the shoulder, you measure the bust. So number one thing you measure is your shoulder, and number two thing you measure is your bust. So you measuring the bust, you will come from the back. You will come from the back and take it across the bust area. This is the bust area. This area is the bust area. So why I say your client or you should have your brassiere on is to get the accurate measurement, because if you measure without bra, definitely you're going to be wearing that particular clothes without bra. But if you measure with bra, so it will give you the accurate measurement you want. So for this bust, this mannequin, the name of my mannequin is Bella. So Bella is 35 inches. So make sure it is not too tight and make sure it is not too loose. So after taking your shoulder, your bust, you move on to your waist. So for the waist side, for you to get an accurate measurement of your waist, you come up by 1 inch. Let's assume this is your navel point. Let's assume this is your navel point. Ibiti dodoa, this is your navel point. So from this navel point, you come up by 1 inch. Come up by 1 inch and you measure your waist. Make sure you are measuring your waist, not too tight, but not too tight, so at least you can breathe. It's not like you want to snatch every of your dresses. So Bella waist measurement is 25.5. If you don't know how to read the tape measure, let me know in the comment section so I can take you on that. So don't forget, for you to get your accurate waist measurement, from the navel you come up by 1 inch, then place your tape measure there and measure what you need to measure. So the next thing you're going to measure is your hips. So this is where the hip is. This is where the hip is. So you make sure your tape measure is moving across the bum like this, like this, like it is on your bum like this. Did you see? Make sure you are passing the tape through these points. You are passing it through these points, and it's coming right to the front, and it is movable. You don't want it to be too tight. You don't want it to be too tight. I hope you understand. You don't want it to be too tight. So Bella is giving me 40.5. So you don't want it to be too tight. So the next thing you measure is your blouse, your half length. So your half length is also your shoulder to waist. This is your shoulder, this is your waist. So it is your half length. It is called half length, and you can also call it your shoulder to waist. So you either write half length or shoulder to waist, because this is a very important measurement in any kind of dress you want to make. So from your shoulder here, you come across your bust like this, then you come down to 1 inch above your waist. So this is giving me 19 inches. So this is how you measure your shoulder. I beg your pardon. From your shoulder to your waist, which is also called your half length. So from this point now, you get to measure your shoulder to nipple. I guess you know where your nipple is. This is your nipple to nipple, your nipple point. So this is one nipple to another nipple. So from this point, you measure your nipple to nipple. But before you measure your nipple to nipple, we get to measure from our shoulder to our nipple. So the next measurement you're measuring is your shoulder to nipple. Just locate where your nipple is and you measure. So this is 9.5. Make sure it is on your nipple. So for you to get your nipple, so you measure your nipple to nipple. So from one nipple point to another nipple point. So this is giving me 7 inches. So for an average nipple to nipple measurement, for someone that is not too busty, between 7 to 9 inches, regardless of how busty the person is. So nipple to nipple measurement is always between 7 to 9 inches, but mostly it is always in between 7, 8, 9. I hope you understand. So the next thing we're going to measure our under bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to under bust. If you don't write it like that, you wouldn't know what you're measuring. You just write shoulder to under bust. So what is under bust? Under bust is under, this is your bust, under it. So that is where your under bust is. So you are going to be placing it under the bust like so, under it. So the trick here is, what I measured here is 13 inches. So the trick here is, if you measure 13 inches, whatever measurement you get from the under bust, make sure you are placing the tape measure under the bust, like under where the bust is, under the breast like this. Make sure you are putting it under. So when you put it under, whatever measurements you get, I got 13 here. I'm going to be adding extra 1 inch to it. Why am I adding extra 1 inch? Because once you are putting on, do you see this clothes now? I actually used the under bust measurement to cut it out. Do you see? I added extra 1 inch because if I didn't add, the breast is going to be pulling it up like so. So the 1 inch is for ease for the boobs. It's for ease for the breast. I'm trying not to mention breast and all sorts. So it's for ease. That is what the 1 inch is for. So whatever measurement, if you get 12, you add one. If you get 14, you add one. So it will give you ease once the clothes is being done. So after measuring your shoulder to under bust, you need to take round under bust. Round under bust. So as the name implies, you are taking it round. So make sure you are taking it round the under bust. So the round under bust measurement is different from your bust measurement. That is what gives your clothes fitting. So you make sure you are measuring it very tight, but not too tight to the extent that you won't be able to breathe, but very, very tight. So this is your under bust. This is how you measure your round under bust. So after measuring your round under bust like so, you're going to be measuring your shoulder to your short length. In case you want to sew a short gown, a short dress, something like that. So you're taking your tape measure from your shoulder here. It is either you take it above the knee, on the knee, or after the knee. So whichever measurement you want to take, just make sure you are taking it from the shoulder. The same thing applies to if you are taking your full measurement. You are placing it from your shoulder here. You are making it come across your bust like this, and you are making it go down to your desired length. To your desired length. That is how you are taking your full length, your short length, even your 3/4, even if you are sewing 3/4, even if it is midi 3/4 long. This is how you take your full length. So if you want to take your blouse length also, your blouse length is also your shoulder to hip, measurement. So regardless of where you want your blouse to reach, just make sure your measurement, your tape measure is placed on the shoulder, because the dress is coming from your shoulder. So that is just the trick of it. Anything that is going down, you start from the shoulder, and everything that is going round, you take it round, like the bust, the waist, the hip. So for your blouse measurements, anywhere you want, if you want a crop top, if you want just a normal top that is not too long, if you want a long top, if you want a shirt, anywhere you want to place your tape measure, that is how you measure your blouse length, your top length, your crop top length, your shirt length, anywhere you want it to be. And also, if you want to measure your trousers, your skirt length, you're placing it where you normally put your band. Some people, when they wear a skirt or a trouser, they pull it up onto this part of the waist. All these parts is actually your waist, and this place too is your waist too. Some people, their skirts are always around here, or maybe in between. So it depends on how you wear your skirts. So anywhere that you are placing your skirt or your trousers, make sure you are measuring it. First and foremost, measure the band, like the waist for skirts. Let's say I'm placing my skirts here, where I place this. So the measurement I got from this place is 31.5. The measurement I get here is different from the measurement I get here. What I got here is 26, and where I'm placing this leggings is 31. So do you know that if you use these measurements for this place, if you make your skirt and you are putting the band here, and you are using this measurement to be tight, but you are using this measurement and you are putting your band here, it will be too tight, you won't be able to breathe. And if you are using this measurement and you are putting it here, it will be too loose. So you need to be sure where you want to place either your skirt band, or your trousers. You need to be sure. So you get the round measurement, and from that point, it is from that point you measure where you want it to be placed. If you want a short skirt, a long skirt, pencil skirt, any kind of skirt, any kind of trousers, that's how you do. But for trousers, make sure you are coming to the side because of the hip. Make sure you're measuring the length from the side. You're measuring it from the side. Do you understand? And for the skirt, you are measuring like so. It could either be here, between the knee, under the knee, or long. It could either be in one of those places. So with all these measurements, one thing I advise people to do, like so many to do, is to always take all the measurements of your clients. You don't want to be taking each measurement every time you want to go and, measure them for, you want to go and collect the work. So make sure you're taking all the measurements. Once you have all their measurements, it gives you, flexibility in sewing. You get all the measurements you know. So that is all we have about the body measurements. And one other thing, if you think you want to, there's another measurement for neck point, and all sorts. The neck point is probably how low you want your dress, the neck of your dress to be, or how open you want it to be. So you can always take the neck measurement. Just make sure the neck measurement is starting from it, because this is where your neck is starting from. So maybe you're going for an off shoulder, you're going for a round neck, that is just the simple thing that you can easily do by yourself. So the next thing we're going to be measuring is, this is all the body measurements we have. I hope you actually got everything written down. And also, we're going to move on to the sleeve, the measurement of the sleeve. So for the sleeve, we have the top arm. This is the top arm, because this is the biggest part of the arm, of the hand, of the of the sleeve, yes, of our hand, sha. So this is the biggest part. So this biggest part is called the top arm. This biggest part is called the top arm. At least I'm sure that everybody, almost like everybody have their biggest part of the body is this side. So this is the top arm. So the first measurement you need to measure if you're measuring a sleeve is your top arm. Make sure the top arm is not too tight. It's not too tight. Because for people that are fat, they are always fat around the armhole here. So this is your top arm. For me, what works for me is the top arm. I see a place where some people actually measure the armhole like so, but I don't measure the armhole. All I use is the top arm. All I use is the top arm. So once you get your top arm measurement, make sure it is, can you see? Make sure it is very free. It's not tight. Make sure it is not tight. This is the most important measurement you need for your sleeve, your top arm. So once you measure your top arm, you measure the length. You measure the length where you want it to reach. This is the long length, the full sleeve, and this is a short sleeve. The short sleeve is always above the elbow. This is a 3/4. The 3/4 is always under, like 3 inches under the elbow point. And even if you want it to be, depending on where you want your sleeve to be, that is where, even if you want your sleeve to reach your finger, just be creative, do as you like. So once you measure the full measurement like that, then you start measuring the round measurements. So you measure for your short sleeve where you place your tape measure, this is where you place, this is where you measure your round measurements. That's your round sleeve measurements. So make sure it is not too tight depending on what you're sewing. And also for your cutter, and also for your wrists. This is your wrist, and also for your wrists. So taking a measurement is not something hard. You just need to take them very well. And one other important thing, we have two types of tape measure. This is the smaller one, and there's a bigger one. Make sure it is the tape you use in measuring yourself or your clients that you are using to draft out your patterns on the fabric, because you don't want stories that touch the art. These tape rules are different, their numberings are different. So make sure if you are using this to measure, make sure it is the same tape measure you are using to draft your pattern and do the fittings. If you enjoyed my video so far, make sure you give my video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and drop a comment below. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.